Research Scholar at CIRACT, and I'll be here your host today. So it is my immense pleasure to welcome you all in this Somaiya public lecture. This lecture is being delivered by none other than the Dr. C.J. Krishnadas Nair, a renowned engineer who is a Padma Shri awardee for the outstanding contribution in the engineering and science technology. So it is our Indian privilege that you have here amongst ourselves. Thank you, Dr. Krishnadas Nair, for accepting our invitation. We have in the audience our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajashekharan Pillai, Lieutenant General Jaspir Singh, Secretary of Somaiya Trust, Director of CIRACT and Dean Research of Somaiya Vidya Vihar University, Dr. Mayur Yergeri, and all the delegates in the audience. I request Dr. Nair, please join me on the stage. It's our pleasure to have you here, sir. I now request all to stand for the Somaiya campus prayer. Thank you all. May I now request Honorable Lieutenant General Jaspir Singh, Secretary of Somaiya Trust, for introducing about university.
and ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to have Dr. Nair amongst us today. And I see the chairman walking in. I'll give a brief introduction on Somaiya Vidya Vihar. And Somaiya Vidya Vihar, the trust as such, was established in 1959. And the first educational institution that was started by the founder, as late Padma Bhushan Karamshri Jethabai Somaiya, was around Shirdi, where the first factory was established. And in 1942, the first school was established there for the children of the factory workers. Thereafter, this campus, the first institution is the College of Arts and Commerce now, it was Arts and Science at that point in time, and this was started in 1960. Somaiya Vidya Vihar, we have a foundation day on 9th of September 1959, that's the day the trust was established. And since then, this place has grown. We have now 35 institutions, from kindergarten to PhD, which includes all disciplines per se by and large. And we have all our institutions of higher learning, which are graded and rated as amongst the best in Mumbai city, in the western region, and some of them in the country as well. The other campus that we have here with us, our campus is Ayur Vihar, is about 5 kilometers from here, which is our medical campus. We have a hospital there, and we have a medical college, a physiotherapy college, and a nursing college out there, along with an IT college, which is there. And here, amongst the major institutions that we have in Vidya Vihar are the management institution, the engineering college, we have the School of Design now, we have a sports academy, we have degree colleges, and we have our schools. We have got 7 rural schools, 3 around Shirdi, 7 schools, 3 around Shirdi, and 2 in Karnataka, where the other factory complex is, in Bagalkot district, 1 here itself, and 1 in Nareshwari, which is in Dahanu district, about 140 kilometers from here. There we have a learning center, which is there primarily meant for the education and upliftment of the tribals. We have hostel facilities there for 500 children, boys and girls, including a destitute home for 100 children. And there we provide education. We have a school from class 1 to 10. Education is provided free of cost, boarding and lodging to all the tribal children out there. And it's been our endeavor that children, once they finish their 10th out there, they come to Vidya Vihar for further studies in junior colleges. And I say that, yes, of late, we have been able to get some children coming from there. This will slowly increase as time goes by. We became a university in August 2019. So this is our 4th year. And becoming a university gave us a lot of freedom, both in terms of the curriculum that we wanted to establish, which has been fixed, or it is an ongoing process. And in line with the best education that can be provided, the infrastructure, if you go around here, Dr. Nair, you'll find, can match the standards of the best in our country. And we aim to make Vidya Vihar one of the best universities which would be in competition with the others abroad. We are here today now for the talk from you on transformation of the Indian aeronautical industry for global excellence. And I've had opportunity to be at the HAL as well as ride in the transport of the aircraft that the HAL produces. By virtue of my appointment in the Army, I had the opportunity to fly the Alouettes, the Cheetahs, and the advanced light helicopters. And as also in the advanced light helicopter weapon system integrated. So The HAL is one of our premier institutions, and it's an institution which we can be proud of. The LCA is another, light combat aircraft, is another project, and I believe you had a hand in that as well. That's been on for the last couple of decades, and I think we should be seeing its mass production soon. And it is an aircraft which would be comparable to the best in the world. It's a 5th generation aircraft which we're looking at, which, then we don't have to go abroad to look at the Rafales or the, F-18s or the S-35s. We will have all that within our own country. And I'm sure it's vision of people like Dr. Nair, which laid the foundation and will take the country and our transformation and our defense industry or industry, aircraft industry is a huge industry. And I'm sure what he has to say today, we all eagerly look forward to hearing Dr. Nair. Welcome, Dr. Nair, once again to Vidya Vihar.
Thank you, sir. I'm delighted to be part of the Somaiya Trust, so thank you so much. Now may I request Dr. Mayur Yergiri, Dean Research and Director of CIRAC, to brief introduce about Somaiya Public Lecture.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our Honorable Speaker, Dr. Krishnadas, former CMD of HAL, our Honorable Chancellor of Somaiya Vidya Vihar University, our Honorable Secretary of Somaiya Trust, Lieutenant General Jagbir Singh Ji, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Rashikaran Pillai, our Professor, Professor Shivgaonkar sir, my colleagues and my students. So Somaiya Public Lecture Series is one of the prominent educational outreach programs which is intended to share scholarly insights on contemporary issues, cutting-edge research, science and technology, policies and innovations with society at large. So we bring to you dynamic speakers who are eminent teachers, researchers, policymakers, educationists, scientists, writers, jurists, innovators, creators, as well as social workers to offer an inside view in their own area of work to the cross-section of society. The community-focused talks of the Somaiya Public Lecture form a part of the effort of the Somaiya group of institutions to motivate young minds and innovative ideas, encourage constructive debate on issues of regional and global relevance, contribute knowledge and instill thought leadership to the public, faculty and students. Somaiya Public Lecture is the brainchild of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Rashikaran Pillai, and the responsibility for coordinating Somaiya Public Lecture talks is assigned to CIRAC, actually the Somaiya Institute of Research and Consultancy. So CIRAC functions as a think tank and a task force to nucleate research ideas, promote, nurture and facilitate collaborative and interdisciplinary research projects cutting across disciplines within the higher education institutes and schools of Somaiya Vidya Vihar and Ayur Vihar campuses. Somaiya Public Lecture is one of our research promotion activities. I welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Deepak Sharma, Vice Principal of KJ Somaiya College of Engineering, to welcome and introduce our speaker.
Respected Dr. Nair, respected other dignitaries, my colleagues and student friends, it's my honor and privilege to introduce our today's eminent speaker, Dr. C.G. Krishnadas Nair, former chairman, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. He is a Padma Shri awardee for outstanding contribution in engineering science and technology. He is an accomplished chief executive winner of Scope Award for Excellence in Public Sector Management and Gold Trophy for Best Chief Executive awarded by Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, then Prime Minister. A graduate from IIT Chennai and PhD from University of SAS, Canada. He started his career as an assistant professor at Karnataka Regional Engineering College, Surathkal, and served as general manager of number of engineering divisions of HAL and became the MD and chairman of HAL. He is credited for the transformation of HAL from a cost plus to a globally competitive aerospace industry and growth through R&D diversification and developing reliable and cost-effective supply chain partners. He led the HAL's design and development and production of advanced light helicopter and light combat aircraft. After retirement from HAL, he served as first Vice Chancellor of newly sanctioned Mahavir Academy of Technology and Science University as Raipur, Chhattisgarh. He served as full-term member of the Scientific Advisory Committee to the Cabinet of India from 1999 to 2003 and as AICTE INAE Distinguished Visiting Professor at IIT Chennai. On the invitation from Government of Kerala, he served as MD of Cochin International Airport and Chairman of Cochin International Airport Services Limited from 2008 to 2011 and was the architect for its modernization and growth. He served as Chancellor of Jain, deemed to be University Bangalore, for 3 terms from 2011 to 2020 and as Chairman Board of Governing Council NIT Calicut from 2011 to 2014. After demitting the office of Chancellor, he is serving as Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Professor and Advisor to Jain, deemed to be University. He is also associated with number of professional associations, founder, President, Society of Indian Aerospace Technologies and Industries, founder, President of Society for Professional Ethics and Management, President of Indian Institute of Metals, 1998-1999, President of Aeronautical Society of India, 1995 to 1997, Fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineers, Fellow of Institution of Engineers India, and co-founder of Society for Professional Ethics and Management. He is recipient of several awards for science and technology, management, and social work. These include Padma Shri Award by Government of India 2001, National Aeronautical Prize 1990, Birla Gold Medal 1988, National Metallurgist Award 2003, Vasvik Research Award 1992, Shri Om Prakash Bhasin Award for Space and Aerospace 1996, Indira Gandhi Priyadarshini Award 1997, Scope Award for Excellence for Best Managed Public Sector HAL 2003, Prime Minister's Gold Medal Plaque for Best Chief Executive 2003, Swadeshi Shastra Puruskar 2000, Dr. Ambedkar Bharat Shri Award 2001 for Social Service. He is also recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award from Indian National Academy of Engineers INAE 2007 and Lifetime Achievement Award from Indian Institute of Metals 2017. He has published over 233 technical papers in national and international journals and 24 books covering subjects ranging from engineering, management, and professional ethics. Sir, we are delighted and honored to have you here. Welcome once again to our university.
Without too much delay, may I now invite Dr. Krishnadas Nair to please deliver the Somaiya public lecture titled Transformation of Indian Aeronautical Industry for the Global Excellence. Please, sir.
It's okay, I can use this. Color mic is not required. I'm not going to move out of here. So, yeah. First slide, and then the first same. Hmm? Okay, if I need it, then Professor Samir Somaiya, Chancellor of the University, Professor Rajshekhar Birla, Vice Chancellor, Professor Mayur, Mr. Jasbir Singh, Secretary of the Trust, and all other distinguished participants for this event, and particularly some, although few numbers, maybe some students from different faculty. First of all, I express my gratitude to Professor Rajshekhar Birla for inviting me to come and deliver a public lecture. So it was not only giving a lecture, but I was able to meet so many great people today, including the present Chancellor, and who himself is a great industrialist, scientist, professor, whatnot. You know, even I would say an environmentalist. Also, he introduced me to Professor Larry Walker, and we had a good chat for half an hour, and we plan to continue our association because we're all working for common cause to make our earth sustained and sustainable for the future generation, and make it a better world to live. So it was a great privilege, and of course I met some of the faculty members during lunchtime, especially the principal engineering college and others. It is very rewarding for me. So first of all, more than this lecture, so I would like to express my gratitude. What do I bring to, apart from the lecture, when you go to an academic institution? I have a recent book which I thought may be useful to all students, engineering, management, and all. In 2006, in Delhi, I organized a seminar called Vision 2020 Aerospace. It was inaugurated by Professor APJ Abdul Kalam. 2020 is over, so now we have to plan for the 2030. So the Secretary of Defense told me, what are you doing, Dr. Nair? When are you going to organize this? So immediately we planned it and we organized one. Secretary of Defense himself came and inaugurated it. And Satish Reddy was also there, who took over the scientific advisor's post recently. And that book, we had presentations from chairman of ISRO, chairman from HAL, DRDO, ISR, everywhere, and telling about what is the future for the next 10 years, what are the things we are going to do, how India is going to figure out how the public sector and private sector are going to work together for greater excellence. So I would like to request the Chancellor to receive this, because since you are going away, let me give it to you, then you can hand it over. This is the book I am talking about. Weight restrictions I could not carry forward. And maybe I also, the engineering, they have introduced aerospace as an elective, I think. So I thought this may be useful. This is a book I have written, Aircraft Materials and Processes. And another one, I think all engineers should learn, on fiber reinforced plastics. So this is also written not only for engineers but also for entrepreneurs. You want to start a business, you can read this book and start. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the interesting conversation.
Since you wanted to give it to engineering, you want me to give
Yeah,
it to engineering?
yeah, they will take
Can
it.
I
Yeah.
refer to it for a few days and give it to you next week?
Yes.
Thank you. I will give it to you on the 31st.
It is there, so I don't need it. Okay. Okay, once again, thank you all, particularly Professor Ashir Birla, who made it convenient for me to come, combining with some other visit. And he has been a great person himself, great scientist. I admire him a lot. Former chairman of UGC and former, as in his position as the chairman or director, I don't know now, of the Indira Gandhi Open University. Fantastic work. He has opened out through very great reforms. Every nook and corner of India, you can have colleges, community colleges and all that. It is changing the rural educational opportunities, and which is combined with the vocational training, and that is the beauty. So these are all great ideas. So I think I am very happy. I am glad that he has chosen to come and work in this great university, which has also a long tradition. So wish you all the best and wish everyone all the best. Now on the topic, since it was a public lecture, as I told, I understood it is more a general kind of lecture it should be, not a technology oriented or innovation predominant lecture. It is just a simple talk on more suitable for all people, including managers, engineers, anybody, public. How a company which started well, dipped after some time, declined, then how it was revived again. That is the story. Very briefly, I will tell you. The early period. Soon after the flight of the first flight of the aircraft by Wright brothers, a lot of enthusiasm all over the world, particularly in India, which is ruled by the British government. A lot of princely states imported aircrafts in the early 90s, 1911, 1912 and all that, and they were flying. One engineer from Mysore, Venkata Subbaiah, he went to UK, joined just a new company called Avro, and designed an aircraft, a passenger aircraft, built it along with the other people, and he flew it also. And it was a great, first flight was a failure. He crashed but was not hurt. He had the courage to ask the management that he wants to do it again. They allowed him, and he again designed and he modified it and flew successfully. Instantly it was purchased by an Australian, and that's the story. And Queen of England awarded him a merit award for this. And that is the company which grew up later as known as Avro, with which HAL had a license agreement. I'm sure Jasbir Singh know about that aircraft much later. But what happened to Venkata Rao? He wanted to come back to India and start an aircraft factory. He came back to Mysore. Maharaja of Mysore agreed to give him full support. But the British government said no aircraft manufacture in India. So that sealed. Unfortunately, that's happened, but he continued to work in India as a professor, retired as a professor, teaching mechanical engineering and a bit of aeronautics and all that. A lot of people were there. So the enthusiasm much later, Walchand Hirachand, he as industrialist, he wanted to start an aircraft factory. He applied to British government. They said no as usual. And he kept on asking, but they said no, no. And then the war started, World War II. And they had a problem. They wanted to make military aircraft in India to fight the war because they could not get aircraft shipped from USA or UK to India because the German U-boats will destroy the ship in between. So they approached Walchand and said, okay, now you can start a factory. Walchand was a great businessman. He said, no, how can I start suddenly like this? I asked you, you didn't give me. Now you give me an order, then I'll start the company. So immediately they placed an order for about 200 aircrafts, a combination of trainers and fighters and bombers. Great enthusiasm. He came back to Mysore, and Mysore government, Maharaja, gave them the land and also money, and between them they started it as a private company. That is in December 1940. And you know, in 1.5 years the hangar was built, aircrafts were built, and it was nobody could believe that India could do such things. Then this government, you know, British government, they said they also want to take share. Of course, as a businessman, he thought it's with good intention, he accepted that also. But it is like the camel and a camel. You know that story, and the Arab story. They came in within 2 months, they said, we want to take over this company because emergency, war, we will run this company. Walchand refused. Maharaja of Mysore also said no. But government has its way, and they gave him compensation and finally bought a company. So after almost 2 years later, the company was purchased by Government of India. Mysore Maharaja did not accept anything. He said, it is, India is after the World War, there is a promise to Mahatma Gandhi that India will get freedom, so then this company will go to India. So he did not take it. That is the story, okay? Which many people do not know, so I thought as a public lecture, let me tell you this. Incidentally, Tata Aircraft Limited was also permitted in 1942 because of the war to start a company in Pune. And that company they started. The British government built 4 more factories, 4 Tatas, one in Dum Dum, one in Barakpur, and one more in Bombay, I think, somewhere area, I don't exactly. And they also assembled and more than hundreds of aircrafts and repaired and maintained more than 1,000 aircraft of the wartime. That was the beginning, that was the early years. Then what happened after the war? After the war, I will go fast later. This area is probably, will be interest of everybody, that's why. After the war, typical of the then British government said, now close down all these factories. Tata's factories were owned by them except the one in Pune. They kept it in Pune and they said, okay, if you don't want aircraft, allow us to build a passenger aircraft. They said, no, though there is no need for you to build. No approval was given. Jamshedji Tata in his memoirs have written, the Britishers never wanted us to build aircraft in India. I'm quoting from his book. Anyway, HAL was almost closed down from the large scale retrenchment, and only a few officials and a few technicians remain. But after India got independence, Panditji decided to revive the aircraft factory in Bangalore, and he decided to give two paths. One is to design and develop a few aircraft, build up competence for design, and at the same time start producing some aircraft which is very much needed immediately under license, and some to be imported. These were the three paths chosen. Under this, HAL grew with license production and also through indigenous design and development. Some of the early successes are the indigenous R&D. The first trainer, HT-2, which served the Indian Air Force for a very long time as the initial trainer. Then HPT-32, then jet trainer Kiran Mark 1, Mark 2, and in the 60s, India developed, much to the amaze of the rest of the world, a supersonic fighter aircraft. Of course, all were Indian designers trained under an able German designer, Dr. Kurtank. And he was passionate about this, and the whole aircraft was built, but it did not fly supersonic because of the engine power, because the engine was supposed to be supplied by Rolls-Royce, and they did not supply because this project is not going to help them. The Rolls-Royce was obliged to the British Aerospace, and the British Aerospace was trying to sell Jaguar to India, and HF-24 follow-up projects will be a business threat for them. So the entire thing was abandoned. That is the sad story. So what happened then after HF-24? The decline started. Sorry. Hey, what is happening? Hey, I am getting mixing up. Backward, should go. Okay? Why is not? It's going to the same round and round. The decline. Before the decline, there was okay. After this, next one is that. Yeah, okay. The decline of HAL started for many reasons. This is good story for the management students also. HAL was at that time vertically integrated. When I joined HAL, I used to hear by the staff college people telling, it is a strength of HAL, we are vertically integrated. We do most of the things ourselves. But we know it is a weakness. If you try to do everything yourself, your overheads will be more, your price will be more. But there were no, that was the only option. Nobody was available. We did not have infrastructure in the country. So HAL started doing only everything. Whatever they can make, they make. Others import. The large scale import of components to make the licensed aircraft. Even for the HAL designed aircraft, import quite a lot. So that is the problem of vertical integration. It is definitely a weakness. High capital expenditure, more labor and management personnel, resulting in very poor competitiveness. So prices were not competitive at all. It was another reason for sickness is it was a cost plus company. I don't think many of you know about this, because what is the concept of cost plus is you get cost plus a profit. So whatever you do, the government auditor will come and check your books and see how much material you use, how much labor you have used, how many machines you have used. Total price is fixed and 7% profit you will get. Everybody is happy. HAL will never lose, always profit only, because even if you have no work you will get profit, because idle capacity is also paid. This is one way to make an organization inefficient. Everybody, today also this is happening in a different way. Politicians keep on giving you freebies, and everybody is happy. After the election they don't bother. During the election we get television, or we get promised free electricity, all those things, everybody is happy. And so we would like to have more election. Every 2 years we should have elections, isn't it? We get more things. That is what happened those days. The company is paid whether there is work or not. So no manager, no worker is interested to find work. If government doesn't give you work, they will still pay you. They will still calculate the cost and give you a profit, including for the idle. And they will get 8.5% bonus. So this is a very comfortable zone. And every year you become sicker, more sick. Nobody knows about it. Prices go up. More import and low level of R&D. You all know R&D is the engine for growth. So R&D is killed. So poor utilization of capital, manpower, resources, erosion of knowledge and skills. If you don't do work, you lose your skills. If you don't do R&D, you lose your technology. And so HAL became a very, very sick organization. Now, how do we transform such an organization? So this is now story after 91. 1990, up to that, nobody believed. The question was that, can you do it? I don't think you can do it. We will import. That was the story those days. Today we have transformed it that, when can you do it? Please do it. That's the story now. So that transformation took place by taking certain actions. First thing was to get out of this cost plus, which makes you more and more inefficient. Day by day you become, year by year, you become inefficient because of the cost plus. So we negotiated with the government. I myself went and talked to Secretary Defense. He said, what you are telling is very good, Dr. Nair, but your union will kill you, because they will not get bonus. When you are idle, you will not get paid. So you will have to find work yourself. I said, no, I have already talked to the union. They are all interested to work hard and don't continue in this perpetually inefficient way. We want to have a change. So agreed on a condition for 2 years. Try and see if you want to come back to the cost plus. We took the challenge and we went into cost plus, moved into commercially negotiated price. And Indian Air Force also supported us. Very good. I said, okay, we'll compare with the international price. If you can compete, you will get the work. Otherwise, you won't get it. You can produce under a license, you can do a design and development. And the armed forces were very much with HAL. In fact, we had a lot of very senior armed forces personnel working in HAL at that time. Second thing was that to become efficient, we have to move out of this vertical integration. For that, what you have to do? You have to outsource more work. You have to develop supply chain. Those students of management will definitely know about supply chain. Supply chain is the very, driving factor for a company to make more profit. Your overhead, other people will do. Instead of increasing your capital expenditure, you outsource it to companies who can do. Train them and develop them as supply chain. So, components which you are importing, you can get it done through Indian companies. Components which you are making inside the factory, you can get it outside much cheaper. So overall cost will come down. So this is outsourcing. So we went ahead developing supply chain through the small scale industries and medium and large industries also. Next is induction of advanced technologies. I was telling, when we wanted to introduce IT and we want to buy a modern computer, those days, modern computer, 91 I'm talking about. Objection came from the union who were supposed to cooperate with me. They said, no, you reduce our work. No more people will be, already outsourcing is done, so work is going out. Now IT also, nobody will have jobs in future. Then we have to tell them, no, IT will bring more work. Our productivity will go up. We will get more work. Government told us, no mobiles. Mobiles were not permitted. So we talked to people and they finally agreed that these are all things, important things. We have to move with the technology. If we do not adopt the ever growing technology, you are going to be losing out in the world. So we introduce a lot of new technologies and including IT tools and techniques, modern equipments. Another thing we did was reorganization of and integration of production, maintenance and research and development. We revived the R&D. We established, we created new R&D laboratories within HAL, and we put R&D, production and maintenance together. I must tell you, the HAL is unlike any other aircraft factory in the world. It is doing everything under the sun. You got engine manufacturing, aircraft manufacturer, helicopter manufacturer, small trainer and transport aircraft. So if you do so many things and it is one company and R&D is being done separately in one corner, they will not grow. So R&D of helicopter, manufacture of helicopter, manufacture of maintenance of helicopter, all should be under one group. So HAL should become a number of specialized companies. So specialization will grow. This story is true for any other organization also. So when we did that, specialization will grow and working together will grow, and new and particularly it will support R&D and realization of R&D project faster. Another one is partnership. Why only you should do R&D yourself? There are so many government laboratories, R&D lab next door, Nair is there, DRDO is there. So work with them. So R&D partnership was established. Diversification, that we don't have to tell you, you all know. Diversification of customers and products is for improving your sales and profit. Then export. Export is not only earning foreign exchange. When you start exporting, you normally develop your internal accounting, internal quality control, internal productivity improvement to be competitive in the world. They don't just give you work unless you are very competitive. So export has a very, very good effect on the company's efficiency. So this is another thing which we did. Now, quickly, how excellence is achieved. You can't achieve with all these things I told you about computerization, new technology, everything can be done. But it is very important to transform the team. We'll talk about it a little later, a little more detail later. R&D, we discussed that, I will not continue. Enhancing the cost competitiveness through productivity, that is also done. Supply chain development, we discussed. Diversification developed. Customer delight, better quality, timely delivery, reasonable cost. We need to accept what Gandhiji told. Customer is God. Customer is the very cause of your existence. So therefore, try and do what the customer needs. What we did, customer used to place an order and say, okay, give us, because they are fed up with HAL at that time. Okay, you supply it in 1 year or 2 years. Because we'll say we have to buy material, we'll have to do this. So I went and talked to, along with our director of operations, to the Chief of Air Force and told, look, please don't order like this. We'll tell you these things we can supply within 3 months. So give only 3 months or 6 months. These things we can supply within 1 year. And nothing should be more than 1 year as far as parts and components and spares are concerned. Full aircraft, once you give the order, we'll give. So there has to be an agreed delivery schedule, and HAL will become efficient. He was very, very proactive. He said, yes, this is what we are looking for. Let's do that. So like that, timely delivery. The other thing is communication is very important at all levels, honest communication, that too. Adherence to ethics and values, social responsibility, environment, sustainable development, zero tolerance to waste and pollution. All these things we did by educating our workmen, our officers, through technical courses and also management courses. We had professors from IIM Mumbai, from IIM Calcutta, and IIM Bangalore coming and talking to our officers and workmen. We had classes on meditation and yoga. Newspaper published saying that, look, they don't have work, so they are going to meditation. But we knew what we were doing. And because this is to transform their thinking, transform their mindset, and work together. Now, we come to supply chain. When you come to an automobile or aircraft, there are so many different components. Here is just a list I have told. First thing is to precision machine components, sheet metal component, structural assemblies. Before that, you need to alloys and materials. Everything is being imported. So we have to make them also in India. Castings, forging, extruded parts, rubber, plastics, cables, connectors, whole thing you can read. So many things we have to do. All these, instead of doing yourself, find small scale industries who are already supplying similar things, who are familiar with the technology for the automobile industry. So this worked out well. Next level is that these have to be integrated into structures. So next thing was just example of one product like helicopter. You can put them up into different structures. You see the top is there, the rotor. Then next structure, all different structures you can see. Why not all these component manufacturers be given to supply to these people another set of companies who will make these structures? And then HAL's job become only integration. This is still ongoing. For ALH we did, for LCA we could do this, and that's why it could be produced. And now with larger orders from government, more private sectors are ready to do the assembly. One day we hope integration of helicopters and at least some of the aircrafts will also be done by private sector with the support of HAL. So that makes it. Now, beginning we mentioned that there is a need to change the team, change their mindset. People were having a very low morale because of lack of R&D, lack of work and all that. Also because the type of work they were doing. The traditional methods of motivation, as is known to management students, is fear. Fear of punishment, fear of losing the job. Otherwise, monetary incentives like salary, incentives and so on, promotions, recognitions. But these have got limits. This cannot motivate a person to the level we want them. We have to create a feeling of ownership, owning the company. It is my company. That pride has to be there. That is called emotional motivation. And how to get this emotional motivation? From people who are already having a low esteem. The low esteem has to be changed to high esteem, pride in the organization. Pride. I'll tell you a small story which I heard during my childhood, and that was implemented. There was a gentleman who came to a village and he was walking around in a Maidan. He saw a group of people sitting in different groups cutting stones. So he went and asked them, what are you doing? That group, one person looked up to him. Can't you see? Don't you have eyes? We are all working very hard. We are sweating in this heat we are working, cutting stones to earn our lively bread. And you are asking, what are you doing? So he walked away. He went to the next team, asked. He said, we are cutting and grinding these stones and making some shapes, and we get a reasonably good wage for this, and that's all. He went to the third term, and when he asked, he said, sir, please wait. He went to a small shack, came out with a small sketch. He said, see this one? We are building a beautiful temple. We are cutting stones and shaping them for pillars, the floor, and then afterwards there will be a lot of sculpture we'll make. All this will decorate the building. And if you come after 2 years here, you will see such a beautiful temple. They were so emotionally involved because they knew. So this is the trick. You have to get everybody involved in the work. It's not enough for the top management to team, plan, action plan, corporate plan, all that is made. If down the line, if everybody do not know, they have to be part of it. They can be part of it only by communicating to them fully. So any work you do, if you have a team, every member of the team should know. Only leader knows, so he'll say, you do this, you do this, you do that. Okay. And if he asks, but what is finally we are going to do? No, it's not your business. I am doing it. You do what you are going to do. Then there will be no involvement. So you have to really have a emotional involvement only through such things. You know. And that is the best thing. Now, I will tell you how practical we did. We found that esteem was very poor in the workers in the foundry and forge, where they work with a lot of heat, the molten metal, hot metal they have to do, very struggling. And they only know they are making these things. Similarly, people in the machine shop, they are only making a lot of machine component. Sheet metal shop, they are the large majority of the workmen. Final people who are working is the so they said, oh, we are only in the in this category. The upstream workers are all in the assembly. So only those who are making assembly of aircraft, assembly of helicopter, they see the helicopter or aircraft. So we called all the managers and said, we have to change it. Only changes by taking them to the helicopter factory, show them the helicopter assembly, and tell them where the parts which they are making is fitted. How important is that part? So when you make this part, you think that you are building the helicopter. Similarly, when you show them, take them to the aircraft factory, show them the aircraft and say, show their part. Like that, then they will get really motivated. They will say, okay, they will no longer tell their family that I am making some machine component. They will say, we are part of the team making the aircraft, part of the team making the helicopter. And we also allowed workmen to bring their family on certain days to come and show the factory. There is so much of change in the pride, and they felt they are part owners of the. That is the kind of change we need to do, managers have to do, transformation of the mindset. R&D we discussed a lot earlier, so I will not go into much. But the last line you can lay, look, it is not enough to make supply chain. The supply chain also has to grow. If they have to grow, you have to share with them your own R&D plans and make them partners in your R&D. So the manager has to see that the supply chain partners have to be developed into R&D and innovation partners. Okay. What is, with such things, what is HAL today? And HAL is not working alone, as I have told you. HAL is working with a large number of supply chain partners who are also innovation partners now, working with R&D labs. And they're a whole teamwork. Its sales, last sales, you see, 21-22 sales is 24,362 crores with a profit, huge profit. Earlier we were getting on cost plus. Now we are getting, because of the hard work, improved productivity, you can be proud of the profit. And profit is not small, it is more than 20%. 5,000 crores, more than that. Our rating in the banks have gone up. We can take loans at a very low price, very low interest, A+, AA+. Also, the number of aircrafts produced and supply to the armed forces is now almost 80%. Some may be still under licensed production. Most others are built, designed and built. And now this percentage will go up with the LCA, ALH and so many other new, which Mr. Jasbir Singh told you in the beginning. HAL has also diversified into ISRO, a very dedicated division doing missiles, dedicated division doing satellite structures. You know, many people do not know. Right from the first satellite, Aryabhata, to the latest, the structures are built by HAL in this dedicated division. And most of the launch vehicle structures are also made by HAL. When our cryogenic tank was, supply of cryogenic tank from Russia was stopped by United States by an embargo because we had a nuclear experiment, so we had an embargo. But we made our own cryogenic tank. So India can work, India can develop when there is a pressure, provided there is a good leadership, there is commitment. All those who worked in ISRO and their associate companies like HAL, L&T, Godrej, they all felt that it is a national requirement. We are doing something for the nation. And that's how it came up, not for profit. Profit also they got now. So, okay, let us. A few things I can show you. This is, you mentioned about the light combat aircraft. It flew, the first flight was on 4th January 2001. And Dr. Abdul Kalam was the chairman of the committee for developing this aircraft. I was fortunate to work with him as the co-chairman for this. We had a large team of designers, both from HAL and Aeronautical Development Agency. And you know, more than 70 organizations in India, R&D organizations and academic institutions work to develop all the technology, because this aircraft, as Mr. Singh was mentioning, had to be the latest, 5th generation, latest light combat aircraft. Nobody else needs this kind of aircraft. America and Russia, they have a larger aircraft, but we want this kind of an aircraft. And it was developed, took time, but then weaponization, various things took time, because first time, this project was taken after 20 years of not doing any research work. So we had lost all the technologies, we didn't have any skills. We had to develop all of them again. That's why, and through this project, we integrated whatever knowledge was available in academic institutions, whatever knowledge was available in the R&D labs, all put together. In one of the seminars, I don't know whether Rajshekar sir will remember, I invited him for R&D seminar as a chief guest, and just to inspire our people. And of course, his talk was very good. People got inspired also at that time. It was a seminar on innovation and R&D and innovation. Okay, so this is a picture. LCA, it's a totally indigenously designed and built advanced technology supersonic light combat aircraft. Internationally acclaimed. This time they are not jealous. When we made HF-24, they were jealous. Right now, they are recognizing India is becoming a power, India is technologically advanced, and they only congratulated us. There was no problem. Project integrated, as I mentioned, public sector, private sector, SMEs, and various national labs and academic institutions. That's the biggest achievement. So that next project will be done faster. Already work has started on another project. So next. This is Sukhoi 30. Sukhoi 30 aircraft is a Russian aircraft, but it is made in India. And when we signed the license agreement, all the development, we didn't want the Sukhoi 30, that's why it's called MKI. It is not a Mark I, it is Make India. Entire R&D improvement was done in India, like thrust vectoring. The engine can be tilted so that it can fly to some extent vertically. So engine thrustering was done in India. all the integration of weapons could be done in India, because in their design details were made available. And the biggest achievement was when India made the BrahMos missile, there was no other aircraft in India which can take this. So BrahMos was integrated with Sukhoi 30. It's a deep penetration strike aircraft integrated with BrahMos and other advanced weapons, totally Indian. And we can still, and there is a new R&D which was established in early 2000, has now matured. It's called AURDC, Aircraft Upgrade and Research Center. Aircraft, especially military aircrafts, need to be upgraded from time to time, and so we have got. Now this is one of the, the new generation after the Kiran. This is Surya Kiran. I'm bringing this just to show you the capability, aerobatic capability of the Indian Armed Forces, and the aircraft has to be designed to be able to take all kinds of, you may call it circus, but it's aerobatics and it's maneuverability. It's nice to see. That's another shot. So it's all help us to feel happy and celebrate. Now this is another great achievement India has done. After making Cheetah Chetak helicopters under license, HAL decided to make our own design and development aircraft. Only Indian design is no foreigner in this. There was just to know whether what we are doing is right or wrong, we had some consultant to tell us. After some time we knew the consultant was feeling unhappy because we are doing progressive. Finally, we had to tell sorry and terminate the consultancy, and we went on our own. And this helicopter is a world record holder. They again advanced light helicopter. It has got more than 60% composites, fiber reinforced composites in it, making it light. And this is a flying at very high altitude in Himalayas, about 7 kilometers above the sea level. And I'll show you a few more slides. You can see the helicopter flying during the Uttaranchal tragedy in 2014. No other helicopter, Russian or American, which our armed forces had, could fly in that altitude and rescue people in adverse weather conditions. It is only HAL made advanced helicopter who did it for over a month. No incident, or accident. Then you can see on the right side is landing on Saicham Glacier area. Another one below, it can also fly very low at sea level and also land on decks. So Navy is also, Coast Guard is interested in that. This is a helicopter landed on an oil drilling platform. You can see that. And this is another one approaching that. So for offshore drilling here in Bombay, I came for a board meeting for Global Vectra, who do a lot of servicing for the ONGC, for piping. So helicopters are used for that. Now one slide, only one I have got to save the time. It is showing that HAL is the primary development and production partner with ISRO for making satellites and launch vehicles. Now, both ISRO and HAL together are subcontracting a lot of work, including making small satellites. And for small satellite, you need small launch vehicle. Why can't private sector do it? Outsource it to the private sector. That's what is happening. That's our strength. Now, everybody will say, okay, you are technologically, you have become advanced, you are comparable with the rest of the world. You say your cost is also competitive. But what is the financial performance? Now, managers and accounting people always go by financial ratios. Any MBA teachers or students here? Okay, I will explain to you. They measure your performance with respect to financial ratios. What is written here is profitability ratio. which is return on capital. What is the total capital employed and what is the profit, the ratio of that. How the ratios compare. Similarly, there is one called EBITDA, that is earnings per share after shareholders will look at what is that. Similarly, fixed asset turnover. Your total fixed assets like building, plant, machines, that is the fixed asset. How many times you are able to turn over means if your fixed asset is 1 crore, are you able to make a sale of 3 crores, 4 crores or half a crore? Accordingly, that's the ratio. The ratios determine your efficiency. Now look at this comparison. HAL is comparable or even better or equal to any other large private sector companies in India in terms of these ratios. Now, compare with the international OEMs. If you say again, you can compare with Boeing, like to like. Boeing, HAL's is 12.87, Boeing is 26.99. Boeing is way ahead of us. Why? Because Boeing is only making the aircraft. Everything is outsourced. If we can reach that status in India, we can also do that. So that is the aim now. Python is 15. The Grumman, that's 15. So unite all these aircraft, they're high. Rolls-Royce, I don't know why they're low. There must be some reason, I'm not able to find it out. Airbus, again, 17, above HAL. HAL is 12, but it's not bad. 12 is very good. When we can go from 12 to 15 if we have more private sector involved. Now, if you take other ratios, the EBITDA margin ratio, you will find that we are comparable with the international OEMs. So, financially, when I talk about HAL now, I have to be careful. It is not HAL alone. HAL and private sector industries, SMEs all put together. But turnover is HAL's. Private sector industry, they have their own turnover. If they are supplying to HAL, finally the turnover will be HAL's. This is my last slide. This is taken from one of my earlier lectures I gave some time ago on various management topics. I borrowed it from there, but just to show you that at that time it was quality systems or quality of everything depends upon the quality of mind. It is the mind that is controlling. So we need to really develop mind power and commitment. So management leading to excellence depends not only on our action plans and infrastructure, technological capability, standards and procedures. All these are important, but it will not depend only on that, because finally it is all done by human beings. So it is a human mind which has to be passionately committed to the goal. For that you need total involvement, the emotional motivation, and commitment to the goal, cooperative teamwork, care for the team and all the stakeholders, wisdom and adherence to ethics and values. With these only we can succeed. So in the Rigvedic prayer, it said, let us all work together and succeed. Sahana bhavadu, sahana punaktu, sahaviryam karvavahe. That is the spirit in which we all have to, not only HAL, any company in the country, we want to go ahead and succeed and become global players. We have to work together. We should not think of competing with each other, killing each other. Killing each other, competition with each other will be gainful only for a short period. That is how East India Company conquered, a small merchant company which came to India, found that the kings, small princely states, kings were fighting with each other. They joined one king and helped him to fight and destroy the other king. That kingdom they divided, half for this king, half for me. Like that, over the years, East India Company took over the whole of India. That is going to happen even now. In the industrially advanced area, everybody is watching India is growing economically. If we are not going to fight among ourselves and compete, so I don't think we should try. Indian industry, private or public, it is public money. You take any private industry in India, where is the money coming from? Shareholders. And rest they borrow from financial institutions. Again, government. So therefore, all private sector, public sector, that difference should not be considered at all. All are our companies. They should work together. They should share the resources, and they should not compete with each other. Their competition is from outside. We should always benchmark ourselves with foreign companies. And can we do better than them? And we can do better only if we work together. So working together, cooperation is what is required, not competition. I think this is the message we have to give to all our young entrepreneurs and also our new bureaucrats who think competition is good. So I always tell them, don't have competition. Don't encourage Indian companies to compete with each other and kill. Let us, all of them, let us benchmark with the best companies in the world and try to achieve that. So that is what is required. And we, in our ethics and values, it is important that we use the right means to work together. So wish you all the best. Thank you for listening to my talk. And as I mentioned to you, it's a very simple talk only, no technology. Or I think that is some other occasion we can discuss. So thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Krishnadas Nair. It was really an inspiring and thought-provoking talk. I'm sure that audience here would like to have some interaction with them with the question and answers. So anyone? Yeah.
You can stop this, no? Close it.
Namaste, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here. Sir, I just want to ask that for bringing transformation in aeronautical industries, what kind of transformation we need to bring in the engineering education system for designing Swadeshi Shastra?
Why it is different? It's not different for aeronautical industry. What I talked is the general one. For the transformation, for the when you talk about transformation, from which to which you want to transform, okay? If you are if it is a company going to become sick and you want to transform so that it doesn't become sick and it grow. So we'll have to find out what are the reasons, irrespective whether aeronautical industry or automobile industry or any other one. We have to find out. First of all, we have to realize there is a problem. Okay, there is sickness. There is a lot of books written on industrial sickness. Some companies become sick. So the cause must be identified. First of all, sickness must be identified. Then the cause must be identified. Or there will be symptoms showing to be sick. That is a different. There is a book. I can some other time. If interest is there is books also written on that. I can send you, share that. So once you identify the sickness, then you have to find the correct treatment. So in this case, what I told you about HAL, peculiar circumstances like cost plus, so become inefficient. No R&D. So people who were doing R&D did good. They started losing their morale. People who were working hard and making the aircraft, they lost their interest because no work for them. So there is one reason for the morale problem. Another reason for that, they did not know about the total thing. What is the worth of their contribution, they did not know. So like that we had to identify the reasons for each thing and then take remedial measures.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So it can be replicated any industry. Any industry.
Sir, I want to understand about the want to understand about the success rate of the Kaveri engine, which was designed in HAL, and also to understand whether we will be able to make passenger aircrafts.
Yeah.
This is the two small questions.
Sure, I'll be happy to answer that.
Thank you.
First one, Kaveri engine. It was a wrong model. See, sometimes we make, at any level, you can make mistakes. While LCA, the right model was adopted, Kaveri engine, we took the, very strongly I can relate to the totally wrong model. LCA was a partnership between ADA, which is a newly formed society. It is not a design organization. Government in its wisdom decided, because we have, HAL was the only company who could design and develop. But HAL also has lost a lot of skill in design and development because no project for 20 years. No. So while HAL can be given, but it will take a longer time. So they decided to form a society called ADA, and where Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Defense, DRDO and HAL were members. And it was understood right from the beginning, it will be primary partnership with ADA, HAL and ADA. Even though HAL itself is a member of the ADA, DRDO also is a member of ADA. ADA, once it is formed, it has a societal status, and the Defense Minister is the chairman of that. Then it is a national project. It was driven like that. There was very good cooperation between DRDO, HAL, all the academic institutions and all that. When it comes to engine development, instead of adopting the same model, they decided to give it to a laboratory called GTRE. They are scientists. They are supposed to develop technologies for engines, but they were told, you make the engine. And entire thing was left to them. They did not follow. They just went to HAL to do this thing. You do this machining, these do this. They went to some other people. They went straight away to foreign company for collaboration. Whereas LCA was not like that. LCA was totally Indian. That is why it failed. It continued to fail because they depended on the consultant. And they themselves were not designers. They were scientists. So the method was wrong. Now, halfway through, Dr. Kothari Narayan, who led the design team for the LCA, and Air Marshal Rajkumar from the Armed Forces, who was the chief test pilot for LCA, myself, we went and told the scientific advisor at that time, Abdul Kalam, saying that, look, don't make it, tell that consultant to become partner, then you will know the fund. So they told, okay, we called them and say, we are not tendering, now GTRE is not able to do it, so can you partner with them and partner with HAL, who has at least some ability to design and develop engines. But that consultant said, no, we are very comfortable with consultancy. We don't want to do it. So it did not work. So it can be now. Now there is the thinking of developing a new program. Now the government understands that. Now there is a new project on civil aircraft, you ask me. The reason I will tell you later, but now what is happening, the positive thing I will tell you, the government has told HAL and NAL to work together and make a civil aircraft involving private sector industries. So that's going to work. Now what happened to the civil aircraft? It's a very sad story, but there are reasons for that. When India became independent, at that time HAL, the Bangalore factory, had quite a lot of expertise in making civil aircraft. In fact, a lot of war surplus aircrafts were converted into civil transport aircraft. At that time, government has licensed. I myself was studying history. They had licensed 21 airlines in the 44 to 50. So many airlines were not required in India, but so many airlines where everybody wanted to buy aircraft. They had no money. So HAL took it as an opportunity, took all the war surplus aircraft like Dakotas and some Liberty bomber and all that big aircraft, converted them into civil, and HAL got recognition by the then the equivalent of the US approval. So they approved HAL. That is the only country, only organization in the whole of Asia who were approved for making and maintaining civil aircraft. So HAL management at that time, the designer, approached government to give them opportunity to make civil aircraft. But government said that our priorities are more. We need to focus on military aircraft. We have to fight a war with the enemies. We have got two sides, so only focus on military aircraft. Then private sector, Tata's approach. It's all history. I'm writing a new book, it will come in that. So Tata approached, at a very senior level, he approached then Prime Minister. The Prime Minister very politely told, "Uncle, your money, you please put it into agriculture. We don't want luxury aircraft, civil aircraft to be made in India. Whatever is required, we'll buy. So don't waste your money." Okay. But there was also an industrial resolution passed in 1950, which reserved what can be made by the public sector, what can be made by private sector. In that, aircraft manufacture was only done by government-owned company, namely only HAL. And that government-owned company was told not to make civil aircraft. So what to do? So that was what happened, and it got changed only in 1993. After we formed an association, I don't want to boast about it. We formed a society. I founded the society when I was managing director of HAL, along with ISRO, mainly to enlarge the private sector involvement. CIT was made for that. Then CIT took it up, saying that private sector is making, but they need to have more work. So you should allow them to make structures, and HAL also should be allowed to make structures for civil aircraft. We are getting export order from Boeing, Airbus, etc. Private sector also will get, so allow. So government changed the policy and said that the private sector also can make aircraft. At that time it was restricted to small aircraft up to 14-seater or something like that. And one factory in Bangalore started also, Taneja Aerospace. Unfortunately, it was mismanaged by the management and it didn't work out. They are not closed, but they are still there. But now, civil aircraft will come, maybe in the next 5-10 years' time. So, yeah.
Thank you, Professor Nair, for overview of the excellence in aeronautical industry in the country. My question is continuation of during the lunch I was asking you about the HR requirements of the aeronautical industry. Have we, as a country, have we got enough trained people to look after the aeronautical industry in India, or are we still depending upon people from abroad to look up? Because when I asked about aeronautical engineering, only very few institutions in the country have aeronautical engineering. My question is whether we have enough HR.
Question is clear. I will tell you the answer. We don't have to depend upon foreign countries for the workmen or engineers or technicians. What was happening is that when small-scale industries were started to make it, they were not familiar with the aircraft quality, aircraft requirements and all that. So we allowed them to take retiring people from HAL and armed forces who had experience. So it was okay at that time. Now they are growing much rapidly. So we need more people, skilled and trained for making. So government, the HAL and CIT took initiative And we have formed an Aerospace and Aviation Skill Council under the Ministry of Skill Development. And there is a separate organization for this. They consulted airlines, airports, and industries, private industries, public sector, and drew up the requirement over the years. And there has been hectic activity for taking the ITI people, give them special courses to train them to become different types of technicians, take engineers and design out of them. Like that, this is going on, and it is they have to train the manpower, certify them through recognized bodies by the government, by the Skill Council, for aviation sector and airport sector. Aviation includes airlines and airports, and the aircraft consists of manufacture, design, and maintenance. It's going on. But the score is not enough now, because we have to have training partners. More training people are required. So they are approaching universities who are ready to do this kind of thing. So a couple of universities have come forward, and they have started. The Jain University is doing BVOC, and when you were in Indira Gandhi Open University. Yeah. But what we started in Cochin Airport, they decided to close it, but are continuing the technician stream. And in BVOC program and for aviation and airport management is already there in Jain. But many other places this has started now. A lot of training centers are coming. But what is more important right now is the quality assurance problem. Because a lot of private sectors have come. Who is going to assure? Earlier only HAL, so they could put DGCA or DGAQA, all of them will be there, Semilac. Today they don't have manpower. So we had a debate on this the other day only during this Mission 2030 seminar, and it was decided that it is high time we will have to have third party to be trained and certified to be quality approval. They have to be supervised by Semilac and DGAQA. So a lot of manpower is required. And academic institution, they have to work with them like we did for LCA, academic institution where they have aeronautical engineering courses. And anyway, it's not only aeronautical engineering people. They need electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and even civil engineers. All of them are required for aircraft. Civil engineers can be good structural designers. So mechanical engineering. So all branches of engineering have good scope to work for aerospace. Okay, that. Yeah. I'm glad that came to know that this university also, mechanical engineering has started for the aeronautical.
Aerospace engineering.
Yeah?
Aerospace engineering.
Aerospace engineering, yeah, right, yeah. That's good.
So may I ask two questions actually?
Yeah.
One, as India is, as you mentioned, first thank you for a very nice informative presentation. As India is also started producing a couple of aircraft, quality aircraft. But still in terms of the export is concerned, I think if I'm not wrong, it's about $1.1 billion altogether we are exporting. So the first question, what are the major constraints are there in terms of the export is concerned and how we overcome? Second question, as we are talking about application of green energy even in the aircraft. So what are the readiness in HAL or maybe the globally in this industry? Thank
Okay.
you.
Export. Export started quite some time ago with great difficulty. Export was allowed. There was a time the government did not allow export of aircraft or aircraft components, because again it was a hangover from the old 1950 industrial resolution. That was changed. Then our cost, because of the cost plus concept, our costs were so high. So who will buy export will not be internationally competitive. So it was necessary to reduce the cost by the kind of things which I showed you we did. And the first export order we received somewhere in the mid 1990. Airbus door, then Boeing, and like that it come out. So slowly it is improving. But really to export to increase, capacity in the country has to increase. Now whatever capacity we are building in the private sector and in the government sector is just enough for our own projects. You'll see now more orders have come, ALH order. Now it has to be serviced. So the supply chain we have developed and the capability they have, infrastructure they have, is insufficient to produce more for export. So they need to be now, if we want to increase the export, we need to support them with finance to invest and then export. So some policy, the government has now put a very high target for export, not only for aerospace, whole country. So there is something happening for people who want to export market. The third thing is that we also jointly, like as the cooperation is required, Indian even private industry, they don't work together. Everybody tries to undercoat the other fellow. Because I am president of CIT, I know some big company wants to buy lots of precision machine components from Indian companies. So they go. They are ready to distribute it too, because more people becomes more work for them. They can give subcontract. It is profitable for them. But what these guys do, they want to get maximum. So they keep on reducing the price. Then you know what happened? The others will lose out, and this guy will get the order, and he will also lose because he is undercoated so much. Profit will be so small. So that cooperation will need to be there. They have to work together as a consortium, take the order, distribute among themselves and supply. So then export will. So a lot of things, something we have to change the mindset from competition to cooperation. Then export will go up. Second thing, there has to be certain financial support from government to the private sector. And there must be some investment from the public sector, specifically to build a capacity for export. If you are making certain parts now, HAL is now making the latest turboprop trainer. A great possibility to export it to many countries. So you should produce more. If you are just producing just sufficient for the Indian Armed Forces, Air Force, Army, Navy, then they won't be able to export. And export of small components will not give you as much as if you export the whole thing. Like if two-wheelers, India exports. If you only make components for two-wheelers and export, you don't get that kind of money. If you export car, you will get full car, you will get more money. If you export components for the car, you will get less money. So we should try to make the whole platform and export. So a lot of policy change is required. Another thing, until very recently, until the present government came, even they took some time to allow India to export military items. Otherwise it was banned. India's policy, our what do you call it? We are not at war with anybody. We don't want to support anybody having war. So government has banned the export of military equipments or even spare parts. That has been changed now. So export will pick up. Because Ministry of Defense may want to export from the defense, but Ministry of External Affairs says no. Because they say it is against our rule to export to countries which are warring. Unlike other countries are doing, like what European countries, USA, they're all supporting Ukraine. Not out of love for Ukraine, I don't think so, because they are able to sell their weapons. No? We don't have that kind of policy. Rightly, we are a country who don't want war.
Non-alignment. Non-alignment policy.
Non-alignment policy. So we don't want to help somebody who are fighting with somebody else. Why? We don't want that kind of money. That is another approach, our mindset. So but export of civil aircraft, trainer aircraft, all this, helicopters. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, sir. May I now request Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajashekharan Pillai to felicitate Dr. Nair by memento and shawl as a token of appreciation.
Time out and coming over here.
Can we have a photo with you also? Please come.
Dr. Supriya Rai, please join us. She is the Dean of Therma Studies. We have faculty of Therma Studies.
Therma studies. Then I should be in touch with you. No, I must tell you, we are publishing a journal for
Ethics and
Asian Journal of Professional Ethics and Management. And you are a member. Sonia University. I will take your address and
Thank you, sir. Now we came to the last part of the program. So, I owe my sincere gratitude to our speaker, special guest, Dr. Krishnadas Nair, for a very illuminating session. I am grateful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Rajashekharan Pillai, and also the Lieutenant Government Jagbir Singh, Secretary of Somaiya Trust, for their support and for carry out such activities. I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Mayur, Dean, Research Dean CIRAC, Research Dean of University and Director of CIRAC for coordinating the event. I also thanks to the Professor Deepak Sharma, Vice Principal of KJ Somaiya College of Engineering, for introducing the speaker. I also thanks to the administrators, faculty and student volunteer who have worked hard for maintaining the discipline and ensuring the session to be the grand success. I would like to thank the sound system and the stage arrangement for the Genal Studio and Avas Company, and also for the IT and PR team for the technical support. The last but not least, I will thank all the members in the audience for joining the sessions and the patient listening. We are really looking forward for such an informative station in the future. So I conclude the session here. Thank you.